Good morning. The June 2, 2015 School Land Board meeting will come to order. First item on the agenda, as stated, is the approval of the minutes from our last School Land Board meeting on May 5th, 2015. After the other members have had a chance to review, I can receive a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is made, seconded, and carried unanimously to approve those minutes. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the consent agenda as posted. And I'll ask members to take a look to review the agenda, and assuming there's no objections, concerns, or comments, I can receive a motion to approve the consent agenda as stated.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is made, seconded, and carried unanimously to approve the consent agenda as posted. Next item on the agenda is number 3 as stated.
Good morning. Mary Beth Barnstone with Mineral Leasing. Mineral Leasing staff requests School Land Board approval of the tracts to be offered at the August 4th, 2015 lease sale, along with terms and conditions for said tracts. Staff is working with EnergyNet.com to perform this sale online. Staff requests School Land Board approval of 115 tracts for the sale. The attached exhibit summarizes by land type and price those tracts that have been determined to be eligible for the sale. Bidding will be on a bonus basis with minimum bids ranging from $100 per acre, those are in the bays, up to $4,000 an acre, depending on location and geology. Royalty rate is 1/5 to 1/4. Bay and golf tracts have variable royalty provision, same as the last sale. If they produce within the first 24 months, it'll be 1/5. If not, it'll be 22.5, and after 48 months, it'll be a fixed quarter. Royalties for rivers and upland tracts will be a fixed quarter. Primary term for the leases will be 3 years for rivers and uplands tracts. For submerged tracts, the primary term will be 5 years. Rental rates will be $10 per acre for years 2 and 3, $25 per acre for years 4 and 5 for submerged lands. And we have some key areas. Most nominations are in the Delaware Basin, which Culberson and Reeves counties, and the Mustang Island block, Gulf of Mexico. So this is West Texas, Middle Coast, Upper Coast. Do you have any questions?
Have we conducted a mock sale with EnergyNet to date?
They have had a practice sale online, and I think it was successful.
There are several thousand producers, correct, that participated in that?
Yes, and we had some from out of state. I think they have 18,000 subscribers, so we are anticipating a larger group of bidders for our sale in August. We normally mail out to 1,500 subscribers here, so this will be a much broader.
So you'll do both. You'll use their marketing process, plus you'll also still do the mailer.
Yeah, we do our mail out, but we'll also have much greater exposure.
Any other questions?
And if this goes well, we will ask to do this again in the future, and if not, we'll go back to our old ways, but this should be more efficient.
Good luck.
Okay.
That will require action. At this moment, I can receive a motion to approve that recommendation in terms of terms and conditions.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is made, seconded, and carried unanimously to approve item number 3. Items number 4 through 8 will be in executive session. The School Land Board will enter this session pursuant to Chapter 551, Subchapter D, Section 551, Tech 071 of the Texas Government Code for discussion and consideration regarding pending or contemplated litigation and/or settlement offers, or to seek or receive attorney advice or counsel related to items 4 through 8 on the docket, and subsection 551 Tech 072 for the discussion and consideration concerning the purchase, sale, exchange, lease, or value of real property related items 4 through 8 on the docket. Following executive session, the board will reconvene an open session to complete the docket. And before we do that, I will also state for the record that I will be recusing myself from any discussion and or decision making regarding a proposed investment schedule for the School Land Board to consider in this June 2nd, 2015 meeting in relation to docket item number 7, based on a prior personal relationship I have with John Walker of Intervest Limited, who serves as Chief Executive Office of this entity. The open session of the June 2nd, 2015 School Land Board meeting will resume with item number 4.
I lost your plug, sorry. I don't know where it went. Y'all need,
We got it here.
I think we have physical copies.
oh, does this plug in? I'm sorry.
No, it's this plug right there. Okay.
Okay.
Comms to the rescue.
Russell May with Asset Management. Shall I go?
Oh, boy.
Hell of a I won't touch it.
We'll give it another shot.
Russell May with Asset Management. Staff is recommending the SLB approve the disposition of land and the execution of easements, a development agreement associated with the subject property located in Harris County, Texas, under the terms and conditions as presented to the board and being in the best interest of the state or the PSF. Are there any questions?
So moved.
Second. Motion is made, seconded, and carried unanimously to approve item number 4. Next item on the agenda is number 5, stated.
Russell May with Asset Management. Staff is recommending the approval to reinstate the prior sales contract with Meritage Homes of Texas, LLC, RS Signs, under the attached terms and exhibits as being presented and being in the best interest of the state or the PSF. Any questions?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is made, seconded, and carried unanimously to approve item number 5. Next item on the agenda is number 6, as stated.
Good morning, Amber Long, Asset Management. Staff recommends approval of the disposition of excess land per the terms discussed in closed session as being in the best interest of the PSF. Any questions?
So moved. Second.
Motion is made, seconded, and carried unanimously to approve item number 6. Thank you, Amber. Next item on the agenda is number 7. Once again, for the record, this is the item in which I have recused myself from decision-making or providing input on the ultimate deliberation of the School Land Board.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, for the record, Rusty Martin, Director of PSF Investments, Chief Investment Officer. Approval of this agenda item would constitute your approval of an investment by TexGlow on behalf of the Permanent School Fund in Intervest Energy Institutional Fund 14 LP. The Investment Advisory Committee is recommending that TexGlow invest $150 million on behalf of the PSF in Intervest 14. Intervest 14 is expected to be a $3 billion limited partnership that will focus on making investments in the upstream sector of the North American energy industry through the disciplined acquisition and exploitation of operated oil and gas properties. Intervest 14 was discussed with staff and the Townsend Group in meetings and conversations between March and May of this year by the principals of the fund sponsor, which is Houston-based Intervest Limited. Staff also performed its due diligence on Intervest 14 during this period. In addition, Intervest principals made a detailed presentation to the IAC and Townsend on April the 30th of this year. In conjunction with this ongoing discussion, review, and analysis, staff worked with Townsend and legal counsel to ensure that the investment fits within the framework of the TexGlow Permanent School Fund Real Assets Investment Policy Statement and is in the best interest of the permanent school fund. Therefore, the IAC is recommending that the School Land Board approve the investment of $150 million in Intervest Energy Institutional Fund 14 LP, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded with one abstention. Next item on the agenda is number 8, as stated.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, approval of this agenda item would constitute your approval of an investment by TexGlow on behalf of the Permanent School Fund in Turner Agassiz Charter School Facilities Fund 2 LP. The IAC is recommending that TexGlow invest $55 million on behalf of the Permanent School Fund in TA2 and a TA2 related sidecar investment. TA2 is expected to be a $400 million real estate limited partnership focused on providing bridge financing for the development, pre-leasing, and construction of U.S. educational facilities, which will then be sold to best-in-class charter school management operators. The TexGlow investment would be structured as a $30 million commitment to the fund, TA2, and a $25 million commitment to a TA2-related sidecar that will focus solely on projects located in Texas. The TA2 proposal was discussed with staff and the Townsend Group in meetings and conversations between March and May of this year by principals of the fund's sponsor, TAGPC LLC, which is a jointly managed venture between Turner Impact Capital LLC and Agassiz Ventures LLC. Staff performed its due diligence on TA2 during this period, and Townsend completed its comprehensive due diligence on TA2 in mid-May. In addition, Turner Agassiz principals made a detailed presentation to the IAC and Townsend on May 19th. In conjunction with this ongoing discussion, review, and analysis, staff worked with Townsend and legal counsel to ensure that the investment fits within the framework of the TexGlow Permanent School Fund Real Assets Investment Policy Statement and is in the best interest of the Permanent School Fund. Therefore, the IAC is recommending that School Land Board approve the investment of $30 million in Turner Agassiz Charter School Facilities Fund 2 LP and also $25 million in a TA2 related sidecar investment for a total investment of $55 million. I'm happy to answer any questions.
So moved.
Seconded.
Motion is made, seconded, and carried unanimously to approve item number 8. And final item on the agenda is number 9, as stated.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, this is a non-action item. I'm pleased to present you with a quarterly investment report of the TexGlow Permanent School Fund Real Assets Investment Portfolio. This is for the period October 1 through December 31st, 2014. The performance measurement calculations and the statistical data that are contained in the report were prepared by State Street Bank and its Private Edge Group, which are the custodial accounting and performance measurement agents for the portfolio. Fourth quarter 2014 U.S. GDP increased at an annual rate of 2.2%. That was primarily reflective of upturns in exports, non-residential fixed investment, personal consumer expenditures, state and local government spending, and residential fixed investment. Current consensus indicates average annual GDP growth of about 3 to 3.25% of 2015. Also during the period, the unemployment rate fell to 5.6% from 5.9% at the end of the third quarter. Current consensus indicates unemployment will average 5.5% for 2015. The Fed slightly tweaked its policy during the quarter. It left Fed funds unchanged at 0.25%, but it also ended its quantitative easing program in October, although it still maintains its policy of reinvesting principal payments from its holdings in agency mortgage-backed securities and rolling over maturing Treasury securities at further auctions. In the real estate markets, NCREIF Property Index posted positive returns for the 20th consecutive quarter. Fundamentals across all property types continued to improve at an accelerating rate, reflecting the sustained and broadening U.S. economic expansion. Except for retail, all of the main property types are reflecting vacancy rates that are well below long-term averages, and they continue to fall. NPI returned 3.04% for the quarter. Its trailing one-year return was 11.82%. All of the quarterly individual sector returns were positive for the 19th time since the second quarter of 2008. Hotel was the best performing, followed by industrial. In the energy markets, WTI oil prices ended down approximately 41% for the quarter. at $53.45 a barrel. That decrease reflected the fact that OPEC, led by Saudi Arabia, declined to cut production to support falling prices in the market. It also reflected a strengthening U.S. dollar, a continuing surge in U.S. shale oil production, and continuing deteriorating economic conditions in Europe and Asia. However, unlike the oil bust of 2008 and 1986, which were caused by a collapse in demand from the financial crisis and Middle East turmoil, this bust is driven mainly by global supply simply growing faster than demand. Demand has not collapsed. At the end of the period, in fact, bullish analysts believe that WTI would reach $85 a barrel by the end of this year, while bearish analysts believe the price will stay in the mid-60s range through 2016. Gas prices decreased during the period, also ending at $3.14 per million BTU, which was down about 24%. That's primarily attributable to mild temperatures and continued supply growth. While oversupply is still a short-term concern, in the medium to long term, coal to gas switching remains strong, industrial consumption is increasing, LNG exports should begin to come online, and infrastructure build-outs will also come online. Therefore, most market participants believe that supply and demand will begin to converge at some point, and medium to long-term prices will probably fall in the $4 to $4.50 per million BTU range. The relative price strength of oil versus natural gas ended the period at about 17.1 compared to a heating value ratio about 6.1. Turning to page 2 of your report, you'll see the performance summary table. I'll go through this briefly. Again, numbers are very good for the fourth quarter. The total portfolio, including cash equivalent investments, was about $4.3 billion. Of that, the external portfolio was about $1.8 billion, the internal around $280 million. Looking at the performance for the external portfolio, I'm looking at the gross numbers across the top there. The current quarter was at 2.44% versus a 1.38 on the benchmark return. We estimate write-downs at the end of the quarter were across the energy section of the portfolio were about 17%, but even despite those write-downs, the portfolio still posted a strong positive fourth quarter return, and the external portfolio outperformed its benchmark by 106 basis points. Looking across at the one-year return, you'll see 13.63% versus 8.61 on the benchmark. So we outperformed the benchmark on the one-year basis by 502 basis points. The three-year return was 17.26 versus 9.85 on the benchmark. So on the three-year return, we beat the benchmark by 741 basis points. And then on the five-year return, our return was 18.18% versus 11.84 on the benchmark. We exceeded that by 634 basis points. On the internal portfolio, current quarter performance was quite good at 2.57% versus 1.38 on the benchmark. And the one-year return, 9.92 versus 8.61 on the benchmark. The internal portfolio has now experienced 16 consecutive quarters of positive returns. And finally, just looking at the combined portfolio on a without cash basis, which is really the best value to look at to judge the performance, you'll notice that the current quarter was 2.46, outperforming the benchmark by 108 basis points. One-year return, 13.07 versus 8.61 on the benchmark, outperforming by 446 basis points. And the five-year return on a combined basis, 14.56% versus 11.84, outperforming the benchmark by 272 basis points. All in all, a very good quarter, very good returns on all the measures, 1, 3, 5 years. This is a non-voting item, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Thank you, Rusty.
Thank you.
That being a non-voting item and there being no further business before the school land board, this meeting is adjourned.